Hello, so I'll take you through this project. First, I'll take you through the structure. We have the GitHub Actions YAML file here, the Terraform file. There's the main Lambda handler. This is the Bedrock summarizer, but it has already been put into the Lambda handler, so it's not used. Then there is this main.py. That's why I started developing it before I added it to the Lambda handler. So that's also not used. Then the requirements are for the dependencies. I'll start with the requirement. So I'm using request for fetching the data, XML to dict for converting XML to dictionary. That's easier to handle. And then Boto3 for AWS interactions. For the GitHub action, I'm using the US East 1 region, Ubuntu image. Then I have the credentials here. This is used to communicate with AWS to set up the roles and the resources. Then Terraform. So for the steps, I set up the Terraform, create a Lambda layer, and that's basically the dependencies. So it creates the folder, installs all the requirements in the dependencies, zips it, and then moves it to the Terraform folder, which is this folder. So this becomes the working directory. Then it creates the Lambda deployment package. It also sends that into the Terraform folder. The deployment package is basically the Lambda handler. The rest are not used. It inits, plans, and then delete the existing Lambda function because I realized it was hanging when the function was existing. So I made it delete before it then applies. So that's basically the deployment stage. And then after that, it invokes the function. I extended this to 900 seconds because it would time out with the original, which was 300 seconds. Another option would have been to make it asynchronous so that it just executes and leaves, but I wanted it to finish so I see the output. So I'll go to the handler itself. I put this up here as constant because these were defined in the challenge, and this is the scope of the project. If it's not just this, then we'll have to make it dynamic. This gets the title information, and basically I get the version, the up to date information. So you can find that here. This. So up to date as of. I use this to fetch the latest information. And then this creates a sub requirement. There's a function that does the real work. It processes each section. And there's a function that calls this one to create the individual sub requirement. This is created in a way that it uses hierarchy, and the hierarchy is lower to number, and then Roman numerals, and then the uppercase. I use this to identify what kind of record it is so that I know where in the hierarchy I put it. This identifies the uppercase records or a record with an ID being an uppercase character. This one is for Roman numerals. This identifies lowercase and this identifies numbers. This is the loop. So the loop goes through all the rows of the section. So for instance, I get this as original. It just comes as records. There is no real hierarchy in here. Then I will convert that to this. So this is what I refer to as a record. So that's what is being looped here. Then this function, this section of the function determines where each record should be. And I save the last record for every level in the hierarchy, so that if I meet another record that has to be put in the previous under the previous level, then I can put it there appropriately. So basically that's how this is structured. It starts with these two. It's either starting with a dictionary or it's a lower case. Then everything else falls down here. We have numbers, so I use this regex pattern to determine that. Then Roman numerals, and then uppercase letters. There are some that don't have anything at all, so they fall down into this section. The next function generates a JSON summary, or a summary of the JSON information that we are working on. And this is to create descriptions for each section. I didn't find a description, so I am using Bedrock to do that. I use a Titan foundation model to do that. And this is a prompt I gave it. The next one is the one that loops through the various sections. So the handler calls this one with a list of sections, and then this loops through the sections and calls the process section content to generate this kind of information. And then this is what we have to put into S3. So it then does it here. If S3 put object, put it into S3. Everything has try except. So if there is any error, this will be printed and we'll find it in the CloudWatch. So basically, everything is in the GitHub action. So immediately we push, GitHub takes over, and then if the role doesn't exist, it will create it. If any resource doesn't exist, it will create it. It will then delete the Lambda function and then deploy a new one. If it exists. If it doesn't exist, it will just deploy it. So I'll demonstrate that. Okay, so now I've pushed it. Then I'll go to the actions, and I will see this one is running. So we can take a look at what's going on. So it's going through the GitHub action steps. After the plan, it will invoke the Lambda function. That can take some time. That will take about 3 minutes. And so we'll say the deployment is done. It's now invoking the function. So we can go online to see what's going on there. This is the bucket. And then we can get into the bucket based on the key given us. It already has these there, but it's going to update them. So I will just show you that. So at 6:08, it updated this one. So this has already been done. We can go to the other, show you a session that has not been done yet. So you can see that this was done 3:24. So this has not been updated yet, and it's still running. So I'll just pause and then come back when it's done. Okay, so after almost 3 minutes, it's done. You can see the result is 200, and it says the data processed and saved successfully. So that's done. And we can see that the deploy is also showing that it was successful. We can see the badge here saying that that is passing. Okay, then we can also look at the files. We'll just refresh and it should show the updated date. This is 3 o'clock. If I refresh, now they show 6:11. We can also look at the Lambda function that's here. So I'll refresh this. And that's it here. And we can see that it was updated just 6 minutes ago. This is basically my project. Thank you very much.